Right now, Senior Associate Editor with American Hunter Magazine, Mr. Kyle Wintersteen, joins us. Kyle, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Cam. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. It's been kind of fascinating to see these stories out of Arkansas and now Louisiana where these big bird die-offs have occurred. 5,000 birds in Beebe, Arkansas on New Year's Day. And yesterday in Louisiana, looks like some estimated like 500 blackbirds and starlings died in unison. Everybody's talking about this, Kyle, and you're seeing some really weird headlines, like the Guardian newspaper in England asking the question, "Apocalypse now?" So what is going on here? Have you been able to do some research into this?
You know, we do have some really weird things going on. I will start by saying that I don't have a taste for blackbirds, and my shotgun and I have an alibi. However, there's been a lot of different theories proposed, and the bird experts really can't tell us for sure. But at this point, the prevailing thoughts are that we're looking at something that's either weather-related, such as hail and lightning ending up near a roost area where blackbirds roost in these huge numbers. We have 100 to 200 million in the United States, and this could have startled the birds. Apparently, they have very poor eyesight, and this could have discombobulated them and led to some mid-air collisions between birds and other objects and led to further chaos. One of the most popular theories is that fireworks celebrations in Beebe, Arkansas startled the birds and led to kind of this big chaos. Now, we're not talking about birds actually being struck by the fireworks. We're talking about just simply startling them, leading to confusion, and birds crashing into each other and other objects.
Because we're not dealing with rocket scientist birds here. I mean, Kyle, these are birds that they're not the brightest species on the planet, shall we say, right?
Well, absolutely. Well, apparently, they this I don't want to call them dumb. They are able to stay in these large groups. Have you ever seen them fly?
I have, yeah.
Perfect. They make these perfect turns. Not one of them screws it up. And heck, I can't even complete my morning commute without seeing somebody who can't keep between the lines. So I won't say that they are the dumbest birds on the planet, but when you get a lot of them together at night near their roost area and they don't see well, you can see how this kind of could have led to some chaos. And apparently, fireworks are very popular in Beebe, Arkansas. The police chief was quoted in the Associated Press as saying that everybody and their brother was setting off fireworks that night. So apparently this was a wide-scale celebration that potentially could have confused a lot of blackbirds.
Okay, and it should be noted as well that there's no known connection at this point between what happened in Beebe, Arkansas, and what happened in Louisiana, right?
That is what they're saying. A lot of science people seem to be so baffled that they're afraid to go on the record and speculate at all. There is one state veterinarian who's saying that these just seem to be very coincidental incidents. The Louisiana incident occurred just 300 miles away from the incident in Arkansas. In that one, it looks like these approximately 500 birds struck a power line, which they don't just do that on their own. These were likely ill or also startled by not fireworks, but some of the other weather-related explanations that I talked about earlier.
Okay. All right. And from what I understand, there is a USGS spokesman, Paul Slota, said that there have been records have shown at least 16 incidents or events in the last 30 years involving blackbirds where at least 1,000 of the birds have died, seemingly all at once. He says these large events do take place. It's not terribly unusual. I would say, once every 2 years is still fairly unusual. And even if there is a natural explanation for this, Kyle, and I'll go ahead on the assumption that there is a natural explanation for this, it is fascinating to me that we this is a phenomenon that we've been observing and noticing for decades now, and we still have no idea why this happens.
Absolutely, and it looks like sometimes there can be disease or a very fast cold front can lead to these things, but this is not an unprecedented incident. That's important for people to keep in mind. These things do happen. In fact, in 1999, there were several thousand grackles that died seemingly all at once, and 5 months later we found out that they had E. coli infection. So
Ew.
that's a similar, yeah, very gross, but it's a similar event with a very earthly, shall we say, explanation.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, I'm sure it is providing lots of speculation and fodder in the blogs at AmericanHunter.org.
There certainly is some. There's a lot in other blogs. I don't know if you've seen any of the conspiracy theories on this, but it would appear that the conspiracy theorists aren't satisfied with the notion that fireworks caused 3,000 to 5,000 birds to meet their demise. But they, the craziest and actually the most widespread theory among this bunch that I've read is that the U.S. government is testing a secret weapon which led to the demise of all these thousands of birds, and that the government is also helping push this theory that the fireworks killed the birds. Now, to me, the more far-fetched theory would be one that the U.S. government's not only testing this secret weapon, but that apparently state game biologists are in on it.
Yeah, and you kind of got to wonder, like, why Beebe? Why this one square mile in Beebe, Arkansas? Why are we developing a weapon that works particularly well against blackbirds? Does the government know something about? You did say that there were 100 to 200 million of these birds in the country, right?
Right.
That's a lot of birds. They could take over any time, Kyle.
Well, fortunately, we have an effective weapon.
It will be interesting to see if they can come up with any further explanation. I know in Arkansas they've noted that the birds had trauma. They said that their organs seemed to be okay, but that there was a chest trauma to these birds. Now, of course, that could have occurred when the birds slammed into the ground. I wouldn't say that we could determine that trauma would be the cause of death for these birds right now, but I am kind of fascinated to see if we actually get an explanation or if this is just one of those things that, kind of defies conventional wisdom.
Yeah, and the really difficult thing is when you say trauma, that's so open-ended that, okay, trauma caused their deaths. What led to the trauma that ultimately led to their deaths? That's very hard to pin down. And if we can locate a toxin, well, that's easy to point to and say that this particular poison or that killed these birds. And if it's ruled to be trauma, which that looks like it will be, we may never know.
Well, we'll keep following this story, and if you get any more information, you let us know about it, Kyle. In the meantime, I'm glad to have you on the program tonight, and keep up the great work at American Hunter.